Hey everyone, this is Ian with AlphaCars and Motorcycles. Today I've got an exciting new Royal Enfield to share with you. This is a 2022 Meteor 350 in stellar blue. You can see how well this blue shines in that sunlight. It's got some kind of metal flake in it almost. It's very sparkly and I do like that. But this video, we're going to be going over this Meteor in a detailed fashion. We're going to talk about its specifications, some of the kind of design elements of it, reliability, the 3-year unlimited mileage warranty these bikes come with from the factory. We'll get to hear it start and ride around a little bit, hear that nice exhaust note of that 350 thumper. And we'll finish it out by talking about some of the really cool accessories we offer. We can ship them right to your door, and we can really help you personalize your Meteor and make it, even more useful for whatever your intended purpose is, whether you're just commuting or just out on the weekends for pleasure. There's really an accessory for everyone that will make their machine a bit more enjoyable. And don't forget to subscribe so then you don't miss the daily motoring content that we give you here at AlphaCars. But now, let's take a closer look at this Meteor. First, let's just take a step back and admire the Meteor. I really like what Royal Enfield did with the design. It's just very classic looking, and I like where they did the chrome accents and the kind of black accents. I like how it all ties together. We can see the black powder-coated engine, the black frame, our alloy wheels on the Meteor on this color are black too. And then we do have, the chrome touches here and there. And I just think it's a very attractive bike. It's going to turn heads, and it's a really classic looking bike, but it's really a pretty modern design, especially with that fuel injection. We're about to talk about that. So you get that classic look of a machine, but with the modern engineering that you just push a button or hit the switch and go every morning to start it up. So now, touching on that, obviously electric start, 350cc single cylinder. It is fuel injected, so behind these beautiful side covers, behind the chrome part there is a cable actuated throttle body with a fuel injector in there. And the tuning on these bikes, the fueling, very sorted out, very smooth. No matter the temperature, they start right up, they run really smooth. And once they're up to temperature, you're on the road, there's no surging or kind of stuttering. It's just a very responsive and smooth running bike, as I've touched on in some of my road tests of these Royal Enfields with that 350. It is mated to a 5-speed gearbox, and it's a heel-toe shifter from the factory. Very, very pleasant to use, very natural to use. I like that those are standard on the Meteor. It makes it even more comfortable to ride. You don't have to get your foot up under that shifter. You just use that heel-toe action there. And it is air cooled. You can see there's no complications of liquid cooling, of hoses and radiators and more liquids and the like. We just have these beautiful looking fins on a cylinder jug. We even have some little heat sink fins on the exhaust header as well. So once again, with that kind of classic look and classic simplicity of a motorcycle too, there's never going to be anything to service or worry about with a cooling system. These make 20 horsepower, 19.9 foot-pounds of torque. They weigh 420 pounds, so with that, it is very eager and very kind of spunky. they get up to speed, no problem. It's really adequate for a bike like this, and I'll link in this video my road test with this 350. And you can see I accelerate up to 40, 50 miles an hour without an issue getting into traffic. So they are fun, really fun bikes to ride. They put a smile on your face. This will yield around 80 miles to the gallon. So with the 3.9 gallon tank, you're really going to maximize the miles per gallon. You're not going to be too worried about finding a fuel stop somewhere. It's you're going to get a great range on that tank with that really very fuel efficient engine. Now let's talk about the kind of suspension and wheels here. They are alloy wheels with tubeless tires, a 17-inch wheel in the back and a 19-inch in the front. And I love the design of the alloy, and I like that kind of matte black finish. I think it looks really, really nice. The rear shocks are preload adjustable. The bike does come with a tool to adjust them, and we can see that kind of cam style adjuster at the bottom of our shock there. So you can wind those up if you need some more preload, if you're taking more weight on the bike or have luggage. So that's very helpful there. Now touching on the brakes, we've got standard ABS front and rear. The front disc is a 300 millimeter disc with a 2-piston caliper. The brakes are very grabby, not in an uncomfortable way, but they're very precise, and they grab right when you want them to. They don't feel like mushy or like you're waiting a while for them to grab. It's very confidence inspiring on the road. And our rear caliper is 270 millimeters. Our rear rotor is 270 millimeters, and it's a single piston caliper. And you may notice they are a drilled rotor and a floating design, which really was designed in the first place for racing applications, but now it's trickled down into lots of road vehicles and road motorcycles. So that's cool that we get that kind of high performance design on the Royal Enfield here. And now let's talk about the center stand. So we can see the bike is straight up on a center stand. It is standard on the Meteor, and I love that Royal Enfield has done this. So we can see here, it really is such a value added item on the Meteor. Most bikes nowadays, unfortunately, they don't come with center stands anymore, and center stands are pretty expensive to buy and to have fitted. Usually they're a few hundred dollars to buy, and if you're going to pay someone's labor to install it for you, depending on the bike you have, depending on what's involved, it's another, at least a few $100s to have them installed. So really huge value added by Royal Enfield having it as standard, and it's such a safe and useful item. We can see the bike is straight up, so it's a great way to store it. It's not wasting space like leaned over, and I can just take my rear wheel here and spin it. So if I've got to do some chain maintenance, you just put it on the center stand. It's the safest way and easiest way to do so. Or if you're going to even do a bit more involved thing and maybe remove the rear wheel or even the front wheel, if you position it correctly, you can do so and replace tires. Really just do what you need to do, and you don't need like a bike lift or anything fancy. All you need is that center stand. It's a 30.1 inch seat height, and the seat is very, very comfortable. We've even got this little backrest for the pillion for your passenger, but very, very comfortable seat, and the riding position is super comfortable as well. You get on it and it almost feels like you're like sitting on a couch going down the road. Like, I don't mean that in like an unsafe way, like you don't have control of the bike or something. It's just that comfortable, and it's that natural kind of a position, which is what you want with a cruiser motorcycle. So now I'm gonna hop on the Meteor, and we're gonna talk about the controls, the dash, and we'll start it up and get to hear that 350. And first, starting on the left side, we of course have our clutch. We have a 3-way switch for our lights. It's always on low beam, which is what it's on right now. High beam is to the left, and flash to pass is to the right. We just kind of bump it that way. Usually where you're used to a momentary high beam or flash to pass is on this back switch here, but this actually controls our multifunction gauge. So I will show you that in just a minute here. We of course have our blinkers. They are not self-canceling, so just make sure to cancel those when you're done. And of course the horn. And before I forget, these do have a USB charger mounted underneath the clutch lever. You can see here this cover flips up and you've got a USB charger there. Very convenient and discreet location. So then if you're gonna have your phone somewhere mounted on the handlebars, all you need is like a 1-foot cord, no clutter, and you can even run the cord out of here almost along the factory harness in a very kind of factory way, which I like. Moving to our throttle side, we've of course got our throttle, front brake, and you can see it, not a lot of travel. As I was saying, it grabs pretty immediately, so I do like that, and it's easy to modulate those brakes as well. It's not like an on-off switch, so to speak. We have our run and kill switch, so this is run, this is kill, and start, you just bump it to the left. And I like what they did with these little switches. You can see it says Royal Enfield there since 1901. This could have just been a blank, switch, but they decided to put some lettering in it and just add some design elements to it, and I do like that. And the grips are very comfortable on these as well. They're kind of like a soft touch rubber. And a lot of bikes I've tried or had an even a higher price point than this, the grips are like hard plastic. So I really, the fit and finish on these Royal Enfields is stellar for kind of the price bracket they're in, you could say. They outshine a lot of bikes that are much more expensive, and I do honestly say that. Now turning on our key, you could probably hear our electric fuel pump there, prime. I like how the speed in our speedometer here, it's kind of like a blue shade that matches our stellar blue paint job. I think it just looks very nice. And this bike has the Tripper navigation pod fitted as well, so that links with Google Maps on your phone, and it gives you turn-by-turn directions on here. It won't be like a full map on here, but it'll tell you which way you got to go and like a certain amount of mileage. So it's really cool that they worked with Google to integrate that, and they have that on this bike. So that is a cool and really seamless function. So now checking out our gauge, we can see we're on our odometer. Bike has 6 miles on it. It's brand new. We built it and then just road tested it quick to make sure everything was a-okay. So using our button here now, right here, I'm just going to press it, and we'll have trip A, trip B, and back to our odometer. And then if we want to reset our trip, we just make sure we're on our respective trip, so trip B, and then we push and hold that button, and within a couple seconds, it goes to 0. Very intuitive, very easy. We can see we have a fuel gauge here, so right now we have 2 bars of fuel, and it will go all the way around to our full mark. I love that modern bikes have fuel gauges. It's like being in a car. It's kind of stress-free. You don't have to keep checking your tank, looking in your tank, or like remembering what mileage you filled up at, or using a trip to go by mileage, like maybe you're used to doing on different styles of bikes or older bikes. So I do really like that, and that's of course standard on all these as well. And we even have a gear indicator. So once again, it's just a nice kind of modern convenience. So you can see I can click it into first here and then back to neutral, and it'll say 1, and then 0 is neutral, of course. So now enough about that. Let me, the key's already on, so let me just bump the starter and it'll start right up. This is an ice cold start. If we look at the header pipe here, I'm gonna grab it with my hand and I can just hold it there. This bike is ice cold. The header pipe's colder than my hand, actually. It felt cold. So now all we have to do is bump our starter. Starts right up. Very smooth running engine. As I said, it's a cold start, and Royal Enfield really dialed in the fueling, the tuning on these engines. So I'll give it just a couple small revs for you. So turning that off now, I think these sound great from the factory. They're very throaty, especially once you get them on the road and get it kind of under load, accelerating through those gears. It sounds really good. You also get some intake noise. It's just very like a deep, refined tone. And now let's talk about that warranty. 3 years, unlimited mileage. You could ride your Royal Enfield around the world if you wanted in the first 3 years, and you'd still have a factory warranty on it. So that's just really how much Royal Enfield stands behind their product. They are very robust. These bikes are European quality. The design, how robust they are. We sell hundreds of these a year, and we see little to none come back for warranty concerns. I personally can't think of the last one we had in for a warranty concern, and I'm not just saying that. I'm always in our shop documenting things for for YouTube and social media and the like. So if there is a bike here getting work done, I do honestly know about it. So these bikes, the moment you'll see one in person, they will impress you with the fit and finish, the quality of everything, the quality of the finishes. It is a very impressive bike, especially for what Royal Enfield sells them for. Now let's talk about some of the accessories we offer for the Meteor. We have things like a rear luggage rack, Jivvy panniers, various windscreens. We have kind of taller windscreens if you really want to just keep all the wind off you, and we have shorter ones as well to more just keep the bugs out of your teeth. We have various engine protection. People like to call them crash bars. I like to call them engine protection bars because no one wants to have a crash. But we do have smaller ones and larger ones, whether you want some discrete protection or you want some nice wide ones. You can even put your feet out on the highway. You can rest your feet on them out on the highway, I meant to say. So definitely all those options there, and they'll protect the bike in the best way possible if unfortunately, it did have a tip over. We even have an LED headlight bulb that goes right into the factory housing and really makes a big difference with the low and high beam, with the light output, and it'll help you, help you have more inspired confidence riding at night as well, having a bit brighter of a light. And that's really all I have for you today on this Meteor. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you learned something new today. If I may have missed anything, definitely, let me know in the comments. If you have any questions, put it down in the comments, or feel free to give us a call, 978-263-9000. We'd be happy to answer any questions you have on these bikes, as they are our specialty. Our showroom is full of them, as we can see behind the Meteor, and we have even some Himalayans outside right now on display. So don't forget to subscribe so that you don't miss the exciting daily content we give you, and please hit the like button. We appreciate your support, and we do notice it. So this has been Ian reporting from our Boxborough location, and until next time.